On the slab, for me, it ties into this in a way as political correctness with regard to religion. It's kind of a pet hate of mine, because my shows as a stand-up comedian, all I want to do is light entertainment and kind of divert people for 2 hours or so. And it crosses a broad spectrum of themes when I do a show, because all I do is talk about me, right? I'm like someone from Cork. And so I will choose things like, my mother's a parish secretary, so Christianity. My father was a flight sergeant, so the army. Sexuality, family, you know, politics, it all goes in there. And yet the one that people come up to say to me, you've offended me, or you've upset me, or you ought to have more respect, which really does my nut in, is religion. And I can't understand it. I mean, there's no problem with having faith. And a lot of, even though I don't have faith myself, I look at my mother and some of her friends, a lot of well-intentioned people and good acts are done by well-meaning, faithful people, and that motivates some of their actions, and that's great. But I don't think that religion anymore should hold this place in society where we need to treat it with reverence. And I have no problem having a laugh about it and saying that I was going to be a priest and that I would have been great doing readings from, you know, St. Paul to the Kardashians, or, you know, that I wouldn't even do Mass. I mean, one of my ideas is that we should just do confession so that I could get the gossip. And then I wouldn't believe in the anonymity. Somebody would come in and say, oh, Father, I'm thinking about riding my husband's brother. And I'd say, is that you, Margaret, you mad bitch? You know, and have a laugh. 5 Hail Marys and come back and tell me how big it was. And I mean this because this upsets people, is that then further to that, I actually quite enjoy talking about all sorts of religions. And when you go outside of the religion that is your own, people really encourage you to walk on eggshells and to be very tentative. And the problem is, I grew up in the generation that was very multicultural, loads of international students in my class. I didn't care if your married were not practicing Islam or Hinduism. And if I'm going to take the mick out of me, I'm going to take the mick out of you for a bit of crack. And I've had people outraged by jokes, silly things like, wouldn't it be easy to be a drag queen in the Middle East because there'd be no costume changes? You just go, who are you now? Bette Midler. Who are you now? Cher. Who are you now? Tina Turner, you know? Or my mother thinks a burqa is something to keep the tea hot. Or, you know, we're teaching Irish. What I love, one of the funniest things to me in Ireland is we can't teach Irish to ourselves, and then we're struggling to teach it to our refugees, and we're going, Mohammed and people go, oh, that's very left to centre, those jokes. They're not, they're Middle East. But the thing is...
Okay.